welcome to our deep dive exploring the principles of Raja Yoga.
Yeah,
We're going to unpack some classic yogi teachings
right.
and see how they can apply to your life today.
Absolutely.
I'm already intrigued by this idea of Raja Yoga,
Right.
not just as a philosophy, but as a system for self-mastery.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like taking control of your inner world.
Absolutely. It is.
Right.
It's about understanding the power of your mind
Yeah.
and learning to use it effectively.
Yeah.
Think of it like training a wild horse.
Okay.
At first, it's unpredictable.
Right.
It might take you for a ride.
Yeah.
But with patience and skill, you can develop a deep connection and work together harmoniously.
Okay, so where do we even begin with this training? The source material talks a lot about the I,
Right.
which seems pretty fundamental to Raja Yoga.
Yes, very much so.
But it's not just our name or our physical body,
No.
is it?
Not at all. The I is the core of your being,
Okay.
the awareness that experiences everything. The source compares the body to a suit of clothes, something the I uses, but is separate from.
Okay.
It's a bit like being the driver of a car.
Okay.
The car is your body, your thoughts are like the GPS.
Right.
The I is the one choosing the destination and navigating the journey.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we start to recognize this I that's separate from our physical sensations and thoughts?
Well, the source suggests a mental drill.
Okay.
Try mentally setting aside various sensations, emotions, and thoughts,
Right.
labeling them as not I.
Okay.
It's a way to create some distance between your awareness and the constant stream of mental activity.
So you're sort of taking inventory
Yeah.
of everything that's going on and saying, that's that, but it's not me.
Right, and it's a process. It's not like you do it once and you're done.
Right.
It's something that you can practice regularly.
Could you give an example of how someone might practice that?
Sure. Imagine you're feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation. Instead of getting swept away by the anxiety,
Yeah.
you can practice mentally acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I am aware of this feeling of anxiety, but it is not. This simple act of observation can create a sense of separation and reduce the feeling's grip on you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of being consumed by the feeling, you're observing it.
Exactly.
It reminds me of a quote from the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Something about the soul being ready for wisdom and power when it recognizes itself as the center.
Yes, it says, when the soul sees itself as a center surrounded by its circumference,
Yes.
then is it ready for the wisdom and the power of the masters.
Wow.
It's a beautiful way of describing that shift in perspective, recognizing the I as the core, the center of your being,
Right.
and everything else as part of its wider influence.
Okay, so once we start to grasp that sense of I,
Right.
the next big idea seems to be about the mind being a tool rather than our master.
Yeah, that's a crucial point.
I'm curious, though, how does Raja Yoga view the mind? Is it just one thing?
Well, Raja Yoga actually outlines 3 mental principles.
Okay.
The instinctive mind, the intellect, and the spiritual mind.
Hmm.
These aren't separate entities, but different aspects of the mind that the I uses.
Wait, could you break that down a bit further?
Hmm.
What do each of those principles represent?
Sure. The instinctive mind is responsible for basic survival functions and drives,
Right.
like hunger, thirst, and self-preservation.
Okay.
The intellect is the analytical part of the mind, responsible for reasoning, logic, and decision-making. And the spiritual mind is the intuitive, higher aspect of the mind that connects us to something beyond the individual self.
So it's almost like we have this whole team of mental faculties working for us.
Exactly.
It makes that analogy of the mind as a set of tools even more fitting.
Yes, and just like a skilled craftsman chooses the right tool for the job.
Right.
Raja Yoga is about mastering these mental tools so they don't control us.
Right.
We can choose to engage our intellect when we need to solve a problem, or tap into our intuition when we're seeking creative inspiration.
This idea of mastering the mind really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like we're constantly battling our thoughts and emotions,
Right.
we can learn to direct them, like an orchestra conductor leading a symphony.
Yes. It's a beautiful image.
But wouldn't focusing solely on the I and controlling the mind
Okay.
lead to a sense of detachment from the world and our responsibilities?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's important to clarify that mastering the mind doesn't mean suppressing it
Right.
or disconnecting from the world.
Okay.
It's about understanding how your mind works,
Yeah.
recognizing your thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them,
Mm.
and then choosing how you want to respond.
So it's more about conscious engagement rather than detachment.
Exactly. Raja Yoga teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment,
Okay.
allowing us to choose how we want to engage with them rather than being controlled by them.
This is already making me think about how I react to things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like my emotions are on autopilot.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But if we can master our minds and understand our I,
Right.
is there a possibility of expanding beyond just our individual selves?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Raja Yoga points toward the possibility of expanding the I beyond the personal self,
Okay.
connecting to a universal I.
I'm intrigued, but also a little hesitant.
Okay.
What exactly does that mean? Is this about believing I am God?
Not, or
Uh,
something like that. It's more about recognizing the underlying unity of all life,
okay.
a connection to a universal consciousness that permeates everything.
Mm.
Imagine a drop of water falling into the ocean.
No.
It retains its individual form for a moment, but quickly merges with the vastness of the sea.
Okay, that paints a vivid picture.
Yeah,
So we're still unique individuals, but also part of something much larger.
precisely.
Mm.
We can think of our individual I as a wave on the surface of the ocean,
Oh,
connected to the vast depths below.
right.
It's not about losing our individuality,
Yeah.
but recognizing our inherent connection to a greater whole.
This concept of a universal I is definitely something I'll need to ponder further.
Yeah, it's a big idea.
But how do we even begin to experience this expansion?
Well,
It sounds incredibly abstract.
the source suggests a few mental drills to help us grasp this concept.
Okay.
One is to contemplate the oneness of matter and energy.
Hmm.
Everything in the universe, from the smallest atom to the largest star,
Right.
is ultimately composed of the same fundamental building blocks,
Yeah.
constantly interacting and transforming.
That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it that
It
way.
is, isn't it?
So by recognizing this interconnectedness at the most fundamental level,
Yes.
we can start to experience that sense of unity.
Exactly. Another exercise the source suggests
Okay.
is to imagine yourself trillions of miles from Earth,
Okay.
gazing back at our tiny planet.
All right.
Do you still feel a sense of belonging,
Hmm.
of being at home in the universe?
Wow, that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
I can see how that would evoke a feeling of connection to something much greater than yourself.
And that's the point.
Right.
By expanding our sense of self, we begin to realize that we're not limited by our physical bodies or our individual minds.
Yeah.
We can tap into a greater power and wisdom that resides within each of us.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but I have to admit, it's a lot to take in.
I understand.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of Raja Yoga.
Oh, we are definitely just getting started.
Where do we go from here?
Well, we've laid a solid foundation by understanding the mind as a tool,
Right.
and this idea of expanding beyond our individual selves.
Yeah.
Now, in the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we'll explore the practical side of Raja Yoga.
Right.
How we can apply these principles to gain mental control and unlock our potential.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to get really interesting.
This deep dive is already shifting my perspective on how I view my own mind and its possibilities.
That's great to hear.
It makes you realize just how much power we have within ourselves.
Absolutely. That's the heart of Raja Yoga.
Yeah.
Discovering that inner power and learning to use it wisely.
Okay, so we have a lot more to uncover
We do.
in our exploration of Raja Yoga,
Definitely.
and we'll continue this journey in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right.
All right, I'm ready to explore the practical side of Raja Yoga.
Okay.
You mentioned taming the wild horse of the mind.
Right.
What exactly does that involve?
Well, it's about gaining control over your mental processes, which Raja Yoga calls pratyahara.
Pratyahara.
Instead of being reactive to every thought and feeling,
Yeah.
you learn to direct your attention inward,
Okay.
becoming the observer of your inner world.
So it's like we're stepping back from the constant chatter of our minds
Exactly.
and becoming more mindful of what's happening within.
Yes. And a key element of pratyahara is understanding the power of the unconscious mind,
Okay.
which can be both a powerful ally and a source of challenges.
This is the part that really intrigues me.
Okay.
We touched upon the unconscious mind earlier, but I'm
Mhm.
still a bit fuzzy on what it actually is and how it works.
Sure.
It feels kind of mysterious and hidden.
Think of it like an iceberg.
Okay.
The conscious mind is the tip you see above the water,
Ah.
representing your immediate thoughts and awareness.
Right.
But beneath the surface lies a vast submerged realm,
Okay.
the unconscious mind,
Right.
where a huge amount of processing happens outside of our direct awareness.
So we're only aware of a small fraction of our mental activity.
That's right.
It's like our minds are running complex operations in the background without us even knowing.
Exactly. The source material states that 90% of our mental activity occurs unconsciously.
90%.
Wow. And this hidden realm is incredibly powerful.
Okay.
It influences our perceptions,
hmm
emotions, behaviors,
Yeah.
and even our physical health.
That's a little daunting, to be
I
honest.
understand.
If so much is happening outside of our awareness, does that mean we're at the mercy of our unconscious minds?
Not necessarily. The Raja Yoga teaches us that we can influence and direct our unconscious minds,
Okay.
just like we can train our bodies through exercise
Right.
or develop a skill through practice.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah.
So instead of feeling powerless,
Hmm.
we can actually work with our unconscious minds to create positive change.
Absolutely.
But how do we even begin to tap into something that's largely hidden from our view?
One technique the source highlights is called subconsciousing.
Subconsciousing.
It's essentially giving instructions to your unconscious mind, much like you'd program a computer.
Hold on. We can actually program our unconscious minds.
In a way.
That sounds a bit like science fiction.
I know it sounds a bit strange.
How did that even work?
It's about consciously feeding the unconscious mind with specific thoughts, images, and intentions.
Okay.
By repeatedly focusing on a desired outcome or quality,
Right.
you're essentially planting seeds in the fertile ground of your subconscious.
Could you give an example of how someone might apply subconsciousing in their own life?
Sure. Let's say you struggle with public speaking and want to overcome your anxiety.
Okay.
First, you would clearly define your desired outcome,
Right.
feeling calm and confident when speaking in front of others.
I did.
Then, you would create a positive affirmation that reflects this outcome,
Okay.
such as, I am a confident and engaging speaker.
And simply repeating that affirmation would be enough to reprogram the unconscious mind.
Repetition is definitely key.
Okay.
But to make it even more powerful, the source suggests combining the affirmation with visualization.
Okay.
Imagine yourself speaking confidently, feeling at ease,
Uh,
and connecting with your audience.
mhm.
Really embody the feeling of what it would be like to achieve your desired outcome.
So it's like a mental rehearsal,
Yes.
but with a specific intention embedded in it.
Exactly.
That makes sense. By repeatedly feeding the unconscious mind with this positive message and vivid imagery, we're essentially rewiring our automatic responses.
That's a great way to put it. And the more consistently you practice subconsciousing,
Right.
the more those new patterns will take root and influence your thoughts, feelings, and actions in the real world.
Yeah.
It's like planting a seed and nurturing it with consistent care until it blossoms into a strong and vibrant plant.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
But what about those times when our unconscious minds seem to work against us?
Okay.
Like when we're stuck in negative thought patterns
Yeah.
or struggling to break a bad habit.
Right.
Can subconsciousing help with that too?
Absolutely. The same principle applies.
Okay.
Let's say you're trying to break a habit of procrastination.
Right.
You can use subconsciousing to replace the old pattern with a new one.
So instead of focusing on, I'm a procrastinator,
Right.
you'd shift to something like, I am focused and productive.
Yes. Identify the new quality you want to cultivate
Yeah.
and create a positive affirmation that reflects it.
Okay.
Visualize yourself acting in alignment with that new quality and consistently feed those images and intentions to your unconscious mind.
Got it.
Over time, the old patterns will weaken and the new ones will become stronger.
This is so empowering.
It is, isn't it?
It suggests we have far more control over our inner world than we might realize.
Absolutely.
But if the unconscious mind is so receptive to suggestion, doesn't that raise concerns about being negatively influenced by others' thoughts?
That's a valid question. And while it's true that our unconscious minds can be influenced by external factors,
Yeah.
the source material assures us that a strong sense of self offers powerful protection.
So by cultivating that I consciousness we discussed earlier, we're building a kind of mental shield that protects us from unwanted influences.
Exactly. Remember the analogy of the I being the driver of the car?
Yeah.
A skilled driver is aware of their surroundings
Right.
and can navigate through traffic safely. Similarly, a strong sense of self allows you to discern which thoughts and influences are beneficial
Okay.
and which ones to deflect.
That makes me feel more secure.
Good.
But even if we can protect ourselves,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be tempting to use this knowledge To try to influence others' thoughts or behaviors?
It's certainly a possibility,
Yeah.
but Raja Yoga strongly emphasizes ethical considerations.
Hmm.
Using mental power to manipulate or control others is considered a misuse of this knowledge
Okay.
and can have negative karmic
So
consequences.
it's like any powerful tool.
Right,
It can be used for good or for ill.
exactly.
But focusing on developing our own I consciousness and
Yes.
aligning our thoughts and actions with ethical principles
Mm-hmm.
seems to be a natural safeguard against misuse.
You've hit the nail on the head. Raja Yoga isn't about gaining power over others.
Okay.
It's about mastering your own inner world so you can live a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
This deep dive is already helping me to see my mind in a completely new light.
That's great to hear.
It's not just a random collection of thoughts and feelings,
Right.
but a powerful instrument that I can learn to use skillfully and ethically.
Exactly.
What other insights does Raja Yoga offer about the unconscious mind?
One fascinating concept is the idea that the unconscious mind acts like a bridge between our present lives and our past experiences.
Mhm.
The source suggests that we carry within us memories and impressions from previous existences,
Right.
which can influence our current thoughts, emotions, and behaviors.
Wait, are we talking about past lives here?
We are.
That's a pretty big leap from what we've been discussing so far.
It is a complex and controversial topic,
Yeah.
and one that we could certainly delve into further in a future deep dive.
Okay.
For now, let's just consider the possibility that our unconscious minds hold a vast reservoir of experiences that extend beyond our current lifetimes.
I'm definitely intrigued by that idea.
Okay.
It makes you wonder what hidden depths lie within us waiting to be explored.
Yeah, there's a lot to uncover.
But even if we accept the possibility of past lives,
Right.
how does that knowledge practically apply to our lives today?
The source suggests that certain patterns, fears, or talents that we experience in our present lives
Yeah.
might have roots in past experiences. For example, a recurring fear of water
Okay.
might stem from a traumatic experience in a previous life.
Wow.
Or a natural affinity for music might be a talent carried over from a past incarnation.
That's a fascinating concept.
It is, isn't it?
It adds another layer of complexity to the idea of self-discovery.
Right.
Instead of just exploring our current personality and experiences,
Uh-huh.
we might also be uncovering echoes of our past selves.
Exactly. And while the idea of past lives might not resonate with everyone,
Right.
it does offer a thought-provoking perspective on the nature of consciousness
Yeah.
and the continuity of experience beyond our physical lifetimes.
This is definitely a deep dive in the truest sense of the word.
It is.
We've gone from the practicalities of mental control to the mysteries of the unconscious mind, even touched upon the possibility of past lives.
It's all connected.
Where do we go from here?
Well, we've explored the depths of the I and the mind,
Okay.
both conscious and unconscious.
Right.
In the final part of our deep dive,
Right.
we'll bring all of these elements together
Okay.
and explore how Raja Yoga guides us towards self-mastery, spiritual realization,
Uh-huh.
and the fulfillment of our true potential.
I'm eager to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, me too.
This journey through the principles of Raja Yoga has already been incredibly eye-opening,
That's great to hear.
and I can't wait to see where we go next.
Me neither.
This deep dive has been quite the journey. We've explored the I, learned about the mind as a tool, and even ventured into the depths of the unconscious,
Yeah, it's been a fascinating exploration, hasn't it?
even touching upon the intriguing concept of past lives.
Right. A lot to ponder.
It feels like we've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but I'm curious to see how it all connects back to the core principles of Raja Yoga.
You're right. We've explored many facets of Raja Yoga. And now it's time to see how these pieces fit together to form a path towards self-mastery and spiritual realization.
So how does Raja Yoga weave all these threads together? What's the ultimate goal of this practice?
The source material emphasizes that Raja Yoga isn't simply about controlling the mind or accumulating knowledge.
Okay.
It's about recognizing our true nature as spiritual beings, realizing that the I is not limited by the body or the mind,
Right.
but is a spark of the divine,
Okay.
connected to that universal I we talked about earlier.
So it's not about achieving worldly success or becoming some kind of mental superhero.
While those might be potential byproducts,
Yeah.
the true aim of Raja Yoga is to transcend the limitations of the ego and experience a deeper level of consciousness. It's about recognizing our inherent connection to the source of all being.
That sounds incredibly profound, but also a bit daunting.
I understand.
How do we actually get there?
Well,
What are the steps involved in this journey of spiritual realization?
Raja Yoga outlines a path that involves ethical living, physical practices, mental discipline, and meditation. It's a holistic approach that addresses all levels of our being.
So it's not just about sitting on a mountaintop meditating all day.
Not at all. It's about integrating these practices into everyday life.
Okay.
The source emphasizes the importance of right thought, right action, and right living as a foundation for spiritual growth.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our inner world with our outer actions, creating a sense of harmony and integrity.
That makes sense. It's like building a house.
Right.
You need a strong foundation to support everything else.
Exactly.
You can't really expect to achieve inner peace if your outer life is in chaos.
That's a great analogy.
But what about the physical practices you mentioned?
Okay.
What role do they play in Raja Yoga?
The source material refers to these practices as asanas, which are specific postures designed to purify and strengthen the body. These physical practices prepare the body for deeper meditative states and help to cultivate a sense of balance and vitality.
So it's not just about stretching and flexibility.
No.
There's a deeper purpose behind these physical postures.
Exactly. The asanas are designed to work on multiple levels, physical, energetic, and mental.
Okay.
They help to release tension, improve circulation, and calm the nervous system, creating a more conducive environment for spiritual practice.
I'm starting to see how all these elements, ethical living, physical practices, mental discipline, and meditation, work together to create a powerful system for transformation.
Yes, it's a synergistic approach.
But it still feels like there's a lot to learn and practice.
Right.
Is Raja Yoga something that anyone can do, or does it require special talents or abilities?
The source material assures us that Raja Yoga is accessible to everyone,
Okay.
regardless of background, beliefs, or abilities. It's a path of self-discovery that unfolds naturally as we apply ourselves to the practice.
That's encouraging. So it's not about being a perfect yogi or having some kind of mystical predisposition.
Not at all. It's about taking that first step on the journey and consistently applying the principles and practices in our daily lives.
And what about those incredible mental powers the source material mentions?
Okay.
Things like clairvoyance and telepathy.
Right.
Are those abilities something that anyone can develop through Raja Yoga?
While the source does mention those abilities, it's important to approach them with a balanced perspective.
Okay.
The primary focus of Raja Yoga is not on developing psychic powers, but on purifying the mind, cultivating awareness, and realizing our true nature.
So those abilities might be a potential byproduct of the practice, but they're not the main goal.
Exactly. It's like focusing on the roots of a tree. As the roots grow stronger and deeper, the tree naturally grows taller and bears more fruit. Similarly, as we cultivate our inner awareness and deepen our connection to the universal, we may find that certain latent faculties begin to emerge naturally.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about focusing on the foundation.
Yes.
On cultivating inner strength and clarity.
Exactly.
And trusting that the rest will unfold in its own time.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
But if those abilities aren't the primary goal, what's the ultimate benefit of practicing Raja Yoga? What can someone expect to gain from this journey?
The source suggests that through dedicated practice, we can experience a profound sense of inner peace, freedom from limiting beliefs, and a deep connection to the source of all being. It's about waking up to the fullness of our potential and living a life of purpose, meaning, and joy.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has been, hasn't it?
It's made me realize that Raja Yoga is far more than just a set of physical exercises or mental techniques. It's a comprehensive system for self-transformation that can touch every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
I feel inspired to explore this path further and see where it leads.
That's wonderful to hear. And remember, the journey begins with a single step. Start by incorporating some of the simple practices we've discussed into your daily routine. Spend a few minutes in quiet contemplation. Practice observing your thoughts without judgment. Or try a simple breathing exercise.
I'm definitely feeling motivated to take that first step.
That's great.
This deep dive has opened my eyes to the incredible potential that lies within each of us, just waiting to be unlocked.
Yes. We all have that potential within us.
It makes you wonder what else is possible when we tap into that deeper awareness and connect with our true nature.
That's a beautiful question to ponder as you embark on your own exploration of Raja Yoga.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been an incredible experience.
And may your journey be filled with discovery, growth, and joy.
You can download the book for free from our website.